You're listening to the My Work, My Life show,
brought to you by Edge Executive Search.
For more information, contact us on
www.edgexec.co.za now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Edge Exec show. And yes, I'm very fortunate to sitting in front of two beautiful ladies. There's Janice from Edge, which you all know, and Janice is going to introduce Refilwe Morisile. And yes, so I'm actually very excited about the show this morning. Janice?
Me too. I mean, I got to spend a lunch drinking wine with Refilwe.
Are you exposing me?
I am.
I don't drink wine.
So, I mean, Refilwe is probably one of the most inspirational women I've met this year. I mean, that's saying a lot. I'm going to give you a short line. I mean, she's a visionary, a motivational speaker, an MC, TV host, model, actress, and albinism activist. She was also SA's first working model with albinism.
Yeah.
So, I mean, tell us, how did you get into modeling? Tell us your story.
Sure. How much time do I have here?
30 minutes.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Cut a long story short. At age 13, I was discovered by a man called Sheldon Gopman. And I guess I was scouted. And my mom was asked, with permission, to actually have me do my first shoot, which was a 5-page fashion editorial for a magazine called Y Magazine. So she agreed, and then I guess the rest was history, and that's where the modeling career actually started at age 13 for Y Magazine.
Jeez. And I mean, you've looked after some amazing brands since then.
I have. I mean, I've been the brand ambassador, or should I say the summer campaign ambassador for Legit. I've done a number of designers, the likes of David Lally, who's actually the first designer in South Africa to have me walk a runway.
Brilliant.
Contrary to some of the beliefs. David Lally was the first designer to let me have that honor. Walked for Clive Rundell, worked with L'Oreal Mizani. Sure. Like the list goes on and on and on. If I were to go and walked for Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week, walked for, let me not go too much about it.
But I mean, you're so much more than just that.
True.
I mean, marketing, media specialist, TV production manager, I mean, all of the above.
Yes. And this is what a lot of people don't know, is that I had a corporate career for about 7 years before fully moving into the entertainment sphere. So while I was having my corporate career, I was doing the media thing on the side. And I guess I decided to leave it in the year 2013 when I just, made the ultimate and most riskiest and scariest decision to actually pursue what I really wanted to do in my heart and in my spirit. And that was go fully entertainment full on, because it was the biggest reason for my purpose.
And 2013 was a good year for you.
Amazing year for me.
Because you also landed on Oprah's Power List.
I did. I was honored as one of the 15 most powerful women in the world, locally 6 women.
Yes.
And what it essentially meant was women who are doing the most powerful things in the spheres that they're in. And for me, I've always been a veteran for change in terms of the modeling sphere, being that person that's changed the conventions of albinism and what people thought about it, and especially then when there was no reference to it. So it was gradually years and years and years of building, and from that recognition of being the summer campaign Legit ambassador to that was the reason why I was honored on Oprah's Power List.
I mean, that's just amazing. I mean, what an honor.
Thank
like,
you,
really.
No, it's something to be very proud of.
I really am.
And I mean, I am obviously crazy about Games of Thrones, and I understand that you are in the next program that's coming out called Of Kings and Prophets. Yay!
Yes, I am in a series called Of Kings and Prophets. Similar to the Game of Thrones, but yeah, Of Kings and Prophets I shot, I think, year before last year in Cape Town. The only South African personality that was actually like personality in terms of celebrity that was cast for it. I don't think they had any idea. But I mean, I had incredible time. I was the villain to the lead character. So it's going to be quite interesting.
So we're clearly not going to recognize you.
Not at all. I mean, I couldn't even recognize myself. But the most amazing experience from that was having the director say to me, I mean, he's worked with Jennifer Lopez. And I think out of just that experience, he said to me, "You're absolutely incredible. There's something about you that reminds me of Jennifer." And I said, "What?" I'm being likened to Jennifer Lopez. Why?
Wow.
You know? And when I asked for him to explain, he said to me, "Well, you have this tenacity about you. You have this spirit about you that says that you will not be dictated to, or that you will push in terms of fulfilling something. And I can really sense that with you. It is so similar to Jennifer Lopez's, and I think you should be very proud of yourself." And I thought, my goodness, what an honor, what a privilege, you know, because I don't take that for granted.
I mean, for me, you really are an inspirational woman. I mean, how many other women, you know, difficult situations can't turn it around like you have? I mean, everything that you've wanted, you've achieved. You've gone for it.
I think, Jan, the most important thing is to never let certain things define your destiny and who you're meant to be. And I think this is what people forget, is that beyond what is called your limitations or your shortfalls, there's a person that has a greater purpose. There's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why you have those limitations or those things, because everything builds to the person that you become and what it is that you're supposed to contribute to the world. I was saying at my talk at Gibbs is that your life is not yours, actually. Your life is not yours. Your life is to better the people that are around you and contribute to this life according to the master plan that God has given you.
I mean, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I stopped planning at age 25 as to where I see myself in 5 years, because I realized that my plan is not God's plan. At 25, I went through retrenchment. I didn't work for about 2.5 years. Actually, 23. And I didn't work for about 2.5 years. And I was the type of person who would plan my life and say, this is where I want to see myself. It's great to be visionary. But the one thing that I learned in life is that if you want to make God laugh, tell him what your plans are.
Love it.
Because ultimately, you can plan all you like. It's great to have a vision in your life. It's great to have a sense of direction. But very often, if you're not led by something greater or a divinity, you lose sight of the actual goal of what your life is. So you live according to your own understanding instead of allowing, the universe to actually carry you to higher heights.
Now, what you just spoke about, to retrenchment, is something that's key for me at the moment. I mean, there's a lot of companies retrenching.
It's terrible.
I mean, if you had to give people 5, key thoughts, they've been retrenched, they're feeling low, they can't find a job, what would your advice be?
5 key thoughts. Let's see. Starting at 1, you're not a failure. I think I learned through my own experience that being retrenched is not because of the quality of what you give. It's not a short list to say who's terrible and, who needs to stay, who needs to go. That's not the case. It's just something that the business has to go through because they cannot sustain the people that they have. So know that you're not a failure from that. Worse things happen in life. Just embrace it. Number 2, learn the power within you. When you're in that state of not having a job, it doesn't mean that you don't have the capability to learn what other things you are able to do. I find that we don't identify our strengths. So that would go with 3.
Yes.
Have the ability to identify your strength. Use that strength to build up to other things. Number 4, do not rely on corporate and your job. It is not the be-all and end-all of your existence. Try and find other things that will push your life. Learn your passions. Learn where you are driven outside of that space. And 5, live your life.
I love it.
Retrenchment may feel like it's the end of the world, and yes, we worry about finances and it's survival of the fittest as a person, to get through life. But ultimately, you learn that there's more joy in life in finding other things other than the job that confines you to a system that makes you believe that you're not bigger than that limitation.
I mean, I guess you look back now,
Yeah.
and you don't regret being retrenched
You know what? I don't regret it.
because it was a catalyst.
It showed me my own strength. It showed me my own potential beyond being in a comfortable space, because that's what a salary does to you. It makes you getting a job and doing the routine. You become comfortable with knowing that that's what you know every day. You know, that's what you're okay with. Getting that paycheck at the end of the month doesn't push you beyond your limits. It doesn't make you think outside of the box. So I'm grateful because it taught me that I'm beyond what the world sometimes puts you in. You need to be able to develop a thinking outside of that cultivates, you know, a sense of drive and ambition beyond just what you know.
Love it. Glamour Magazine Woman of the Year?
Yeah. Didn't go too far. It was just a nomination. But I mean, that's still recognition to say, we see what you're doing.
Definitely. We see this month is actually the government's Albinism Awareness Month.
Yes.
What are your thoughts around that?
You know, I wrote a very long post on Instagram. Not a very long post, but I'm not even sure if I'm able to share it. And it shared the very same sentiment about not just Albinism Month, but going beyond these months. And this is what I said. I think what many people don't grasp is the irritation of being asked to participate in albinism dynamics where we are grouped. I get that I've become a great example to those that find inspiration in who I am, and I'm proud of being that icon. But I'm very tired of being requested for work engagements because there's an interview, show, or someone successful with albinism required for content to sell. What happened to normal integration in showing that success? I wish people, broadcasters and producers, etc. would understand that you're beyond your skin. There's more required to build your success as a person. There's personality, character, capability, your drive, ambition, and going beyond to make things happen because you have a vision and have acquired the necessary expertise. If my albinism, then every other person would make it, don't you think? And that's not the case, because you still are you beyond what your looks are. Something more has to account for what you offer, and I've worked damn hard in my life to get to where I am and still maintain that ethos. Can more respect be given for talents possessed as individuals before making an assumption that success comes from the color of your skin? Can one be engaged because of the quality of what one is able to bring to the table? You are responsible for your life and God the master of your plan. There are far more greater things that make a person than a condition. This applies across the board. Food for thought. That's what I think.
Yeah.
It's not just Albinism Month. Albinism is something that is consistent in life. I live with this every day of my life, and it's not something that is attributed to my success because, like I say, everybody else would have made it if that was the case. You got to have a sense of self and a personality and something about you, characteristics that play out, you know, what it is that you have to give, you know, what it is that you have to put on the table in terms of the person you are and what you have to offer. So I'm beyond my albinism. I'm beyond my condition. If people learned to actually stand up and do things for themselves, you know, I think we'd live in a society where we, even beyond albinism, are able to live with conditions or limitations or what we think are flaws.
Oh, I love that.
True. And I think a lot of people use a lot of things as excuses not
That's
for
the thing.
progressing in life. And then, you know, there's no excuse.
There actually is no excuse. You know, you owe everything to yourself, you know, to a certain degree. And I'm not even say, but you take responsibility for your life and the decisions that you make. So I think we should be very cognizant of that. Yeah.
So, I mean, you've built quite a big brand for yourself, and you're kind of an entrepreneur in a sense. I mean, you work for yourself.
True story. I'm my own boss.
So what does a normal day in your life look like?
Normal day in my life is I have to wake up in the morning, look at my social media, and think of a banging post. Because that's another thing, is that my life is just filled with motivation. I'm a motivational speaker, so I live through it as well. So it's waking up in the morning, seeing what it is that I can inspire somebody with. I have to go through my emails, admin every day, because another thing is I don't have a PA. So I handle, as much as I have a management company that handles me, I take control of everything in my life. So it's handling emails, it's handling the phone calls that actually come through. It is attending to people. It is going, okay, my day differs. So like today I'm at an interview. After this, I have to go to a meeting at a clothing store, but it's filled with meetings. It is also depending on what it is that I'm doing at the time. So a lot of my time at the moment is spent with voiceovers, speaking engagements, putting everything together, MC work. So I prepare for those things as well. Modeling, not so much. I mean, I do it time and again as well. It's just become really a hobby more than my bread and my butter, because I'm in different spheres of my life. If I was on a show, I would be preparing for that. But yeah, that's on the pause at the moment. It's more of the MC work. It's more of the speaking engagements. It's more of the albinism activism as well, because that's something really close to my heart. So I'm always dealing with certain cases in terms of making things better for certain people, how it is that I can engage on different levels.
And if you can give advice, I mean, for someone to start something so different and start their life as well. I mean, probably in the beginning, you would have to take every job that comes your way.
True.
Now you can be probably a bit more selective.
Listen, I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking every job that comes your way, because you learn to discern what is important and what is not. You learn to also find what it is that you want to do and that you don't want to do, and what is it that you'll take and won't take. So it sets standards for you. There's nothing wrong with taking everything. And also, it takes away, I find that people have too much pride. When you have too much pride,
So true.
you don't have that thing to be able to humble yourself to a certain degree, because when you take everything, it means that you're willing to learn in every sphere and you're willing to grow.
Yeah, because I think that's even true for us, Janice. When we started the business, we would take on every client and
Everything.
now,
We do it all.
yes.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with doing it all. It takes nothing away from you as a person. Instead, it adds, because you're growing yourself. You're growing your understanding on different levels. And this is what people don't get. They say that, why do you have so many eggs in one basket? I said, why not? Another thing is, if you're blessed in that manner and you're given those things, why is it that you cannot utilize them? You maximize on everything. Life is so short. If you are going to be short of yourself, what is it that you say that you've accomplished?
No, it's very true.
Look at the two of them. If you guys could see Jan and Steph in the studio, they're looking at each other like, oh my God, what have I been doing with my life?
No. I think we've also learned the hard way, and it's easier now. In the beginning, if someone says, "Hire me someone, I want someone that's pretty and young and tall and blonde," we would go and we would do that. Now, some of these people, we just wouldn't work for them from an ethical point of view.
True.
I think the brand is strong enough,
True.
and we believe in ourselves, and we can actually walk away from this.
You live, you learn, and you grow.
Yeah.
Give us some advice on how to build your brand. I mean, you've got a strong brand.
Wow. I think the biggest thing is authenticity. I find that we live in a world where there is certain expectations, yes, and an image that is created of self, but that image has got to be as close to who you are, because if you have to lie about the type of person that you are because you want to impress the public, it's admin that is going to get to you at some point. When you're authentic about self, you are speaking a truth about who you are, and it will draw the people that are necessary. So building a brand is about authenticity. It's about understanding also what it is that you want to put out. Where do you want to position yourself? Because positioning is everything. It's how you relate to people and how it is that you carry your career through or your brand through the different stages of its growth. So, just know that, and also consistency is so key. Consistency, I find, is something that will help people, be able to walk with you. Because if you're not consistent, you throw people off. You send mixed messages, and really, in all honesty, you want to be clear about who you are and what it is that you represent. So your brand is a representation of yourself and what is it you speak and what vision you're trying to sell.
When we were walking in earlier, you were telling me about presenting at Gibbs.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. I was fortunate enough to do Changemakers Conference. So I was one of the only entertainment babies that was asked to speak. But I think it was also because I have a different story. Not different story as such, but I have a story that needs to be heard. And I spoke about staying against all odds, just staying in your purpose. And that was my ultimate, because I find that in this life, as much as we have corporate careers, we have, just careers generally, we live to, I actually said, this is what I actually said. There are people that breathe more than they live. It's very important for you to live. The minute you start to live, you fulfill a purpose. And when you live that out, you accomplish so much more, and you live a life that's fulfilled, that will bring you very more blessings, and you are able to see all the things around you that just happen. And that's exactly what I spoke about. Having a sense of self, having a purpose, having a backbone, having a spiritual backbone, because we find that we live in a world where people don't really learn to embrace such things, and which is such an important thing. If you don't have a spiritual grounding, your understanding of certain things is very different as opposed to a person that has a certain foundation to fall back on.
Love it.
Yeah.
Just a quick one, because we're running out of time.
Oh,
but-
no.
We can talk all day.
So how do you use social media to grow your brand and sustain it? Because I think it's probably a big part of your life.
Listen, first of all, let me say I'm an advertising specialist. So my understanding of the progression of what we used to do back then versus now is such a big thing. Social media, I feel, is obviously the new tool in terms of the digital space, and going into a space where we no longer use the traditional context of how we do things. So social media has opened up a new thinking. Yes, it's opened up a new thinking. It's opened up more innovation, and it's created more reach. My only problem with social media, it's that it's kind of, how can I say it? It's given people to not have boundaries. That's my only issue with social media, because I find that there's a decorum with certain things. But social media has opened up that platform, which is a little bit volatile, because yes, we have a freedom of speech, but I don't think when people don't understand its usage, it becomes a dangerous tool. So for me, I've understood the power of it, and I've also understood where we fall also on social media. For me, though, I use it as a platform in terms of building my brand, helping people understand and relate to me more. It is important because it creates the reach to people. I mean, I speak to people that ideally would have never been able to engage with me on a different level, on a personal level, because that's what happens as well. Unfortunately, it does it can be a little bit intrusive, but I also think you pick what it is that you want to put out. And from a business level, it's an incredible tool. If only businesses could learn, though, to maximize on it very cleverly, because another thing is you need to have a strategy. Don't just put things out and assume that things are going to happen. Think about what it is that you're going to put out and the implications of it as well. So that's just my take on social media. I love it and I hate it at the same time. Maybe it's because I'm very true to my heart and my spirit. So I try and be as honest as possible as I can on social media, more than use it for its superficiality.
Okay, so just on a personal note, are there a couple of gentlemen knocking down the door? And how do you manage that?
Oh my goodness, that's like a whole, I even went godness. There's a whole queue of gentlemen tailing behind me. There is a special somebody though. Look, I'm still kind of looking at the field, but there is somebody that's caught my eye that I won't lie about. There's somebody that has my heart and my spirit. it's brand new. We'll see where that goes. But I definitely do have a trail of
Followers.
gentlemen followers, But yeah, very surprising for me actually, because I never thought of myself in that context of being this bombshell, until I hear from guys where they're like, actually, Fee, you're a mind blower. I'm like, wow, really? I never thought this, but hey, no big head about it. I'm just very relaxed. I'm a relaxed soul.
Maybe you could take over my social media so I could have a trail.
Gosh, you need to see Chan. She's absolutely
She's selling
gorgeous.
herself short here.
She's selling herself very short, and she makes me so angry because she's got legs for days. And then she wants a trail of guys. I'm sure she does. I think it's just it's just the feisty character. Maybe that's the thing. You're a little bit intimidating, Jen. Maybe that's the thing.
Could be.
Doesn't mean you don't have a trail. It means you have a selected trail that's just hiding. Exactly.
Oh, we've really enjoyed today. I could have spoken easily for another half an hour.
You know, Sam, the powers that be, do something.
No, definitely, and yeah, I hardly could get a word in because it was just
Sorry,
so.
Steph.
No, it was so fascinating. I could definitely think
I'm so sorry.
we need a follow up show, and yeah, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope the corporate world. I hope I am a catalyst for innovation and just a change in thinking, just generally in the corporate world in different spaces. And do holla at me. Twitter at Vanilla Black, Instagram Refilo Modisele, and my contact details are all on those platforms as well.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jan. Look at Jan's face, guys. I wish there was cameras.
No, we're going to put some photos on our Facebook, so
Yes.
you guys have to go and see these
She's
beautiful ladies.
swooning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Steph. Thank you,
Thank
Jan, and thank you for an incredible show.
You have been listening to the My Work, My Life show on brandlive.co.za.
Proudly brought to you by Edge Executive Search.
Visit Edge Executive Search on
www.edgeXEC.co.za now
for more opportunities, events,
and our latest podcasts.
brandlive.co.za.